Good day, folks. Welcome to Sport Fishing on the Fly on the Bench. Today I'm going to tie for you a pink salmon fly called Pretty in Pink. I designed for the beaches and estuaries and slower rivers and stuff around the lower mainland here and on the coast of Vancouver Island. Pink salmon have recently begun running in the Squamish River up in the lower mainland here where I live. And they'll be coming through again in August in the Fraser. Hopefully they open them up this year for us. They only run every 2 years, so that we get them on the odd years. And they're just a hoot on a fly rod. I just used a 6-weight and either a floating line or a sink tip with a clear tip, maybe a 12 foot tip on it. And yeah, absolute blast. Small flies, size 10, size 8 work great for pinks. And they'll eat anything like pink, combined sometimes with green or black or something. So make sure you have these materials ready before you tie the fly. For a hook, I'm using a Gamakatsu size 8. It's the saltwater series. I think these are 3x strong. Or you could use a size 10. For bead, I'm using a 5/32 brass silver bead. If I used a size 10, I would use a 1/8. For thread, I'm using Semperfli Nano Silk 12/0 in white. And to color the thread, I'm using Artist Loft markers. They're alcohol-based. For the tail, I'm using Tiger Barred Magnum Rabbit Strips in hot pink, brown, over peach. For the body, I'm using 1.5mm flat tinsel in silver. For the rib, I'm using 0.2mm wire in hot pink by Semperfli. It's like a medium size if you have another brand that's pink. And for the collar, I'm using Straggle Legs in fluorescent dark pink by Semperfli. So I've gone ahead and started my nano silk on my hook already here. And I'm just going to take the rabbit strip and cut off a chunk off the hide here. You just want to take your rabbit and hold it in one end and just pull out some of that under fur. It just helps it lay nicer on the hook, not be so bulky. I'm just going to moisten it as well. You should keep a cup of water at my desk. One thing about rabbit, it goes everywhere. It's kind of like deer hair that way, I think. You want your tail, I'm just going to measure it about the length of the body. I'm going to leave a tiny bit of this peach showing at the back though. So maybe a tiny bit longer. I like that color. Salmon really like that color. Just tie that in good. I'm going to take a couple wraps under this tail so it doesn't foul. That's good. And then next I'm going to tie in the rib. Yeah, you could use like silver wire would be fine if you don't have pink for this. Just make sure it's a medium size. These fish have some pretty good teeth on them. Next, I'm going to tie in my silver tinsel. So it's like a medium silver tinsel, or large maybe. Not the little thin stuff. Sorry, I got rabbit all over my fingers. Pink salmon was actually the first salmon I ever caught on a fly rod, and I think I caught it up in the Sunshine Coast area. I was beach fishing for them. And I dropped my tinsel there, sorry. And I was using these really large flies for I think I've told this story before, maybe on here. And for like 3 days, I casted and casted. I never caught nothing. And these older fellas were watching me. And on the 3rd day, after I was all defeated, this nice fella came up to me and handed me 3 flies. And he said, okay, you come back tomorrow and 11 a.m. and stand right there. And I guarantee if you use one of these flies, you'll catch something. And they were significantly smaller than what I'd been using. This is actually a very big pink salmon fly for me. Usually I do tie it on a size 10. Normally. It depends where I'm fishing though. Like if I was maybe fishing the Squamish, I would probably use this one, but I would use a tungsten bead, maybe some lead on it to get it down. I have different flies that I tie for the Squamish because you got to get it down in the current there. This is more for like estuaries. As the pink salmon return, they return to the estuaries and to spawn and everything. Or right off like the beach, like saltwater beach. Just go by a feeder creek there where they return and you can usually catch them. They're like the easiest salmon to catch. And I recommend like a 6 weight at least. I don't use a 7 or anything. I don't even use a 7 for coho. I use a 6 weight. But, you know, for somebody that's new or whatever, you might feel more comfortable with the heavier rod, the 7 or whatever. But because I know some people do use a 7 for pinks. But honestly, they're not that big, but they can get to 12 pounds or so around here. So, and I'm not sure about the Vancouver Island ones because I've never caught one there. I've never been fishing for them there yet. I think they run here every 2 years on the odd year. And they run on the east coast of Vancouver Island on the even year. And I think the west coast of Vancouver Island, they just run all the time or something. So there always seems to be pinks over on the island. And I'm anxious to get over there and fish for them. But here, I usually don't, I'll fish the Squamish and stuff if you're allowed to retain them. And, you know, occasionally just for fun. But mostly when I do my pink salmon fishing, it's in the Fraser River, not too far from where I am. And they're really, really fresh. They just come fresh into the Fraser. They're really good on the barbecue. So, and they're a blast on the fly rod. They really are. So I'm just going to tie the straggler in. I meant to say I counterwound that rib the opposite from what I wound the tinsel, just to keep it a little bit stronger. You could also put glue underneath that tinsel to hold it on there a little bit better, or over top of it, if it's your preference. So I'm just going to wind a few turns of straggle here. The other, if you don't have straggle, just use dubbing, like pink ice dub. I have a fly exactly like this, except it's marabou and it's pink ice dub at the head, and then just brush it out a little bit, make it a little bit shaggy. I've had some pretty good success with the straggle so far, so I'm going to stick to it. So to color the thread at the end here, I've been using either this hot pink that I got. These are artist loft pens. I got them at Michael's, and they're really good. And actually not too expensive compared to some of the pens you can find online. I won't mention any brand names, but I was actually shocked at how expensive they can be. So I just went to Michael's and bought these, and I think they're about 25 bucks or something like that. And they help a lot because I do use a lot of white thread and I prefer it. So I'm just going to put a couple of whip finishes in here. Actually, maybe I should have tied that collar. I'm going to just change my mind here because I didn't quite get what the collar that I wanted in there first. The straggle legs are out of my way here. I'm just going to wind a little, just a little hot spot in here. There we go. And now I'm just going to whip finish. I'm going to take a tiny bit of resin here. I'm just using the Semperfli No Tack resin. You could just use head cement or glue or whatever. Probably want to put a little bit of something on there. Oh, rabbit hair on my tool. Just a little drop. Doesn't come undone, it's quite so easy. Nano Silk's pretty strong. A lot of times I just put wax on it and double whip finish it, and that's all I do. But for the salmon, you probably want just a little bit in there. It's got a little cure. If you want to know what light I'm using, it's by Raid Zap. And there you have it, my pretty and pink salmon fly. So to watch all of our latest Sport Fishing on the Fly episodes and to order Sport Fishing on the Fly merchandise, including flies, head over to our website at www.sfotf.ca. And make sure you hit the subscribe button before you leave here to catch all of our latest Pro Staff bench segments, and they have some classic shows that they put up here once in a while as well. Thanks for joining me on this edition of On the Bench. Take care, everyone. Tight lines.